Hi, I'm Samantha from Thread Collective, and with me today I have
Olivia from Millennium Pastoral.
And we're going to be scouring a merino fleece that her son's grown himself so that we can get it ready for spinning. So to do this, we obviously have our fleece. So this one's been uncoated. It is still quite clean though. There is some vegetable matter, but you can see that we have some dirty ends, and merino does tend to be quite a greasy fleece. So we're going to see a lot of that coming out in the wash. And we've got some stain tips here. So we'll wash some of that so you guys can see how that comes up, because we're going to be using one of the products Thread Collective sells, and that's the Unicorn range. So for this one in particular, we're going to be using Beyond Clean. You could also use the Unicorn Power Scour, which has a nice lavender scent. I've just bought the really big one of this because I also use it in my regular laundry. And you'll want, if you're doing a small batch, you could just use a colander. If you're doing larger batches, you can use things like delicates bags, and you just need a big basin. I don't normally do this in my kitchen sink. I don't think the lanolin is particularly good for your pipes long term, so if you've got a separate laundry or somewhere you can drain the water out, that's a bit safer for your pipes and garden, definitely take that option. But just for, camera purposes, this is it today. I've also I grabbed the fibre wash just to show you guys. I use this one on already clean wool and my finished yarn if it just needs a little bit of a cleanup. And then I've also got the fibre rinse if I feel like any of my garments or yarns need a little bit more conditioning. I don't use this one too often, but it gives a really nice softening sort of feel to my wool. All right, so we've got that sorted. I'm going to fill this sink up with some hot water. You do not want to use boiling water because that can damage the fibre of the wool. So you're just using hot water straight from the tap. And you want to use a fair bit. So you'll notice on the Unicorn range, it's in the imperial measurements. So it's 1 tablespoon per 1 gallon, which is about 3.8 litres. So we're just going to get a nice full sink and get that set up. All right, so I've started filling my sink. I've added 1 pump of this to make up 1 tablespoon to about the approximate 4 litres that we're putting in. We're probably putting in a bit more than that, but we're only doing a fairly small amount of this fleece so that we can get a lot of water moving around it and making sure we can really extract the dirt and the oils and any of that staining. So I've just popped the colander in so I can get a good idea of how much water I actually need in there for my little bit of fleece. The other thing I have here is a delicates bag. Once I put in the first batch of wool into this one, because it's only a small amount in this side, I am going to fill up the second sink as well and get a larger amount going in this. I do still want to be really careful not to overcrowd the delicates bag, or the water won't be able to move through those fibres easily and get that clean. Okay, so that sink's now filled enough, so I'm just going to shift this one over to that side, and I'm going to add my pump of scour to this one. I'm going to give this one 2 pumps. Again, I'm going to be using, I'm not actually sure how deep these sinks are, but I'm going to guess maybe about 7 to 8 litres of water on this side, and we will get some wool on the go. So we're going to do a very little amount in this one. So with fleece, if I'm doing a big one, I tend to open it out, so I'm not taking from the middle of the fleece. Sometimes I'll sit and I'll sort it into the different sections. I'm just trying to find a particularly, like, we've got some staining in this bit. We'll use this bit here so we can really see the difference. So bring that over here. So looking at this wool, you can see we've got some staining around here. This is really typical, completely normal. It's often a result of either the lanolin itself, and this looks like it's a lanolin section. Sometimes it can be from urine staining, and that particularly with your rams. Was this off a you or a ram? It doesn't really smell. I think maybe a girl, because ram wool can be a bit stinky, but this stuff is really good at getting it out. So you can see we've got some little bits of dirt and stuff happening. It is really clean though, so I don't know what your little man was doing, but he kept this ship very tidy. And so I'm just gently putting it in, and you can see there's like little bubbles coming up, and that's just the air escaping. And you kind of want to do this until most of those bubbles have stopped, because then the wool should start to sink and settle a little bit. While it's got a lot of air trapped in there, it's just going to keep floating. So we just want to make sure it's really quite soaked. So I'm just flipping it over. It's never going to really sink to the bottom, but just if you can make sure you've got water all through it, and I'm not going to touch it any more than that. I'll set a timer shortly for about 15 minutes and we'll drain this one out. We'll see how it's looking. We'll probably do another scour and then maybe a rinse, and then that one should be good to go. All right, so on this side, we're gonna get our delicates bag set up. All right, so we're gonna start our delicate bag one. So did you have any particular, is this for your spinning? You're making up a gift?
Yeah, for a gift.
So your friend, you're doing a special exchange thing at the moment, aren't you?
Yeah, homemaker swap box.
Homemaker swap.
So it would be nice to gift her some fleece from our farm and process it and have it ready for her, and gifting her a spindle as well, so she can give a new hobby of, spinning up some wool a trial.
Amazing. All right, so did you want to pick out the little bits that you feel are good for you? I would aim for any that are slightly longer, because you're only doing a fairly small amount for her. We want some nice long staples. Try and choose bits that are probably cleaner already for her to get started with, and just sort of layer them in there. You don't want to do like a thick layer, so you could almost just tear off a sheet of that wool, open it out a bit. It looks good. It may even be too much, but here you go. I think it's a fairly decent sized bag. All right, and so what you want to do is just make sure it's nice and spread out as you place it on top of the water. And then you're just gonna like hold it down. I always feel like I'm drowning the wool. Like little air bubbles coming up. So just gently in one go, you should just be able to do a nice big press down. And then the main thing is you're not wriggling your hands around a whole bunch. So that's it. And then once you feel like it's fairly saturated on that side, just gently flip it over so you can make sure that the top side at the moment is also thoroughly wet. You can already see that water changing. So certain wools as well, like the water may turn a delicious shade of brown and even black. So it's a bit gross, to be honest, sometimes when you're doing it. Sometimes it smells. This one's really clean. I can't actually smell anything. But we can see there's a lot of lanolin and oils coming out of your side already in particular. We've only got such a small amount in here. We can see that the colour of the water's changed, but nothing super significant there. I'm gonna just gently turn this one just so you guys can see, and you can see that stuff there that's coming out. That's your lanolin escaping. So some of it's grease as well, but that more milky looking brown, that's gonna be your lanolin. And so what we wanna do when we're washing as well is to not let the water cool back down, because unless you want all your lanolin to resettle and all that grease to resettle, if you let it cool, it's gonna like stick back in the fleece. So just let it go for about 15-20 minutes, and then we drain it and assess whether it needs another go through. Because this is the first pass, it will definitely need at least one more go. All right, we'll come back in about 10 minutes, guys, and show you how it's looking. All right, so it's been about 10 minutes, so we're going to check our first scour. So we can see the water has definitely changed colour, so we've got quite a bit out there. I'm just going to gently lift this and drain it out. I'm just going to pull the plug, and you can see how white this fleece now is. So we've still got our stained tips, and that's fine, because this kind of dirt at the end here, when you flick it open, that will actually come out for the most part. We are going to give it another scour just to be extra sure we've got as much out as possible, but this is looking already so beautifully clean to what it started. Again, trying not to overhandle the wool, because we want to keep that really beautiful crimp and that merino structure. Some of this is also destined for the dye pot. We're going to be having a go at dyeing with some mulberry leaves, which will hopefully get us a beautiful green colour. I'm just going to do like a little half pump this time because it's such a small amount of fleece. While that side's filling up, I'm going to lift out this lingerie bag, delicates bag, because we've got so much more in this side. I'm just going to zoom in and show you just how much sort of grease and that's come out of there. So I've lifted that out now, so I'm going to pull the plug. And again, this is why you don't really want to be using your kitchen sink if you can avoid it, because all of that, as it cools down in the pipes, will reharden. And you can see quite well, I don't know if you guys can see, but you can see the actual dirt in the bottom there. I'm just going to give that a quick rinse. And while this side's filling up, I'm just going to let that rest in the bottom of the sink. I neglected to mention that I've made sure to go straight back to another hot wash, just because the slightest temperature change to cool might just shock it a bit too much, and we don't want to do that. So we want it to cool down naturally when we're done, but at the moment we're only going from whatever temperature it's at to hotter or the same. All right, so that's nearly got enough water in it at the moment for that fleece to move around. You can still see there's still a little bit coming out, but not too much at all. I wouldn't normally be poking this around, but I'm just wanting you guys to see how that's looking in there. So just a little more to make sure that really has room to move. And that water is so clean already, like you can see my hand as I'm pressing down. So really there's not much more to be done on this one. The next rinse will be just that, it will just be a rinse. So I'm gonna move this to this side now. I'm just gonna gently lift this bag of wool out so that we're not agitating the wool by accident. Just giving this another quick rinse to make sure I get as much of the dirt and grease out from the last wash as possible. And put that plug back in. On this side, I'm just going to add one full pump because it's a larger amount. And because this is a gentle tap, I am going to just lay this back in. I'm going to make sure that that wool does not float into the path of the tap though, because we don't want to have it running underneath and felting that. And so once we've filled this up again, that will be another 10 minutes. But this side, we'll just need a short rinse after, and we'll check this side when it's done. It may need one more go just because it's a larger volume, but I have a feeling it's probably also going to have had enough as well, but we will assess at the end. So in the meantime, we're gonna chop up some mulberry leaves because we have another project to do. We'll see you back here in 10. Okay guys, it's been about 10 minutes now, so we can see that the one on the right where we haven't had too much fleece to scour, that water's quite clean. So I'm just gonna go ahead and lift that one out and pull the plug there. And the next step for this is just gonna be a rinse to make sure we get that sudsy soap out. We don't wanna leave that in there. On this side, you can see that we still have quite a bit of lanolin and grease and dirt coming out. So we're gonna go ahead and do another scour on this side, but just a rinse on this side. And I'm just not leaving this in while it drains because fleece has a tendency to like clog up the pipe even when it's in a bag, and I just won't let the water through.
If you were washing a whole fleece, how would you manage that? What would you do that in?
So if I was washing a whole fleece, I wouldn't normally do it all in one go because you might have upwards of sort of 2 to 3 kilos on even a well-skirted fleece to do. So what I do is I lay it out on either the concrete ground after I've like blown it so I'm not adding any more dirt, or up on a bit of mesh on some trestle legs so that I can open the fleece out properly and spread it out, because it's normally like a whole fleece that you can kind of see where it's come from on the sheep. And I would just like section it out into little bits. Sometimes if they're coloured, you want to sort by colour, and for your other sheep you want to like pick out your different staple lengths and that sort of thing, and you might want to keep those together. If you're carding it all together at the end, you might not care so much about getting those staple lengths sorted. And then just do it in, it depends on the size tub you have. Like if you've got a big bathtub or something outside, you can fill that thing up. You can do what's called, I'm going to say this wrong, suint bath. It's S-U-I-N-T if anyone wants to look that up. And you basically like put your fleece into this bath and let it cement for like a week or two. And it cleans beautifully, but you need to have like a big old bathtub that you can drain and somewhere you don't mind having it, because I think they can kind of smell. So if you can do that, that's another way of cleaning it. If you've got a top loading washing machine, you can add water to that without the fleece in it, because when you have the lid open, it won't normally do anything. And then you can stick your fleece in to just like soak. And then you can actually put it on the spin cycle to spin out some of the water, which is, yeah, a bit scary. So exercise a lot of caution with that one and open your lid a lot and make sure it's not felting. I don't have a top loader anymore, but I used to do that. Are you gonna start doing some big ones on your own? Yeah,
interesting as a producer, when you're shearing the sheep, wanting to keep the whole fleece together, and then that's something that we've always wanted to have been told to do, and when we're selling them, to be able to sell a whole fleece, just interesting to then know when it's sort of okay to parts it all up and things, yeah.
Yeah. I think like if you lay out the fleece and if you're separating it for sale and you're doing it as like your raw fleece, you can then list the various parts of the fleece. So like you've got the saddle and all of that sort of thing. So you can let people know where it's come from. Or you can lay it out. Like I've bought whole fleeces and I've bought half fleeces, and the half fleeces, they're normally like laid out on the table and they're divided like down the top line of the sheep, half and half, and you can pick which side you want. So that's a fun way of doing it. And then yeah, you're also looking at whether the fleece has been well skirted by your shearer, because a poorly skirted fleece can kind of devalue it a bit. Like you've got that extra weight in there, but it's like unusable.
Daggy.
Yeah, you can't use it. But this is a good fleece. Little man's doing well with his sheep raising, because you guys have Corriedale and Border Leicester, or
as well as
mostly.
Dorsets.
Yeah,
sure. As well, yeah.
And then
Quinn's just got a few merinos.
Yeah, so you might be
breeding
more merino soon as well. But you could do some fun crosses for the home spinners as well with that. But these guys, the merino, you'll probably find you're getting more lanolin out of them than a lot of your other breeds that you're running. So I'm going to do the scour on this side. And on this side, we're just going to rinse it out, because we aren't aiming to strip the lanolin out and that sort of thing completely. Like we're just doing really gentle scouring with this product. There's still going to be a little bit of lanolin in there, so it should still be beautifully soft and not feel dried out. I'm not going to add any rinse to this round, but if after spinning I felt that it needed a little bit of an extra condition, I could add in some of that fibre rinse I mentioned earlier. I think after this one, you might be okay for a rinse on that. We're planning on carding this one, was that correct, after?
Yes.
So what we'll do when we're carding it is flick any of the dirty tips with a little hand flicker, and then Olivia lives nice and close to me, so she can either use my drum carder when it's dried out or some hand carders to process. Now with this rinse I'm about to do here, I'm not adding any fibre rinse, but we are going to naturally dye this stuff, so I'm going to add a little bit of another chemical, which is some alum, a common mordant for dyes, and you guys don't need to worry about this part, so just ignore the fact that I am adding something else to it. Just trying to find, I keep all separate stuff for my dye equipment. So I've got a teaspoon here that does not go back in the kitchen. Just add some of that in there. And because this is getting dyed straight away after, we're going to keep it wet. If you were dyeing it later, you would have to re-wet it. Okay, so it's been about another 10 minutes. So this wool now is where I'm happy with it to be done, because anything residual remaining here is going to come out in the carding process. You could absolutely do some more scouring if you wanted to get that out, but yeah, I'm happy. We're going to transfer this to the dye bath soon, so I'm just going to drain this water out. And this other lot here that's not getting dyed, we are going to give that a good rinse. You could give that one another scour, because it's still losing a fair bit there, but there we go, and just keep my hand there so it doesn't go under the water. I may just give it another scour. Just trying to integrate that scour a bit. And you can see immediately after adding that bit of scour, it's released more already. The big thing here is just making sure there's plenty of water for the fibre to move around and for the grease and the dirt to come out. You can see this is a particularly dirty section here. I'm going to flip this bit to just help it get a bit more exposure to the water and have my clean stuff sitting up. Glad I did that extra little bit of scour, because we can see that that's releasing more now that we've opened it up a bit more. We probably had the lingerie bag maybe a little bit too full for it. The delicates bag, a little bit too full for it. All right, that's plenty of water now. We'll let that sit for another 10 and we'll see how that's looking. And I'm going to keep working on my other little project here with Olivia. So we'll see you guys back in 10. Alright guys, so it's been about another 10 minutes, and you can see that after we've removed this from the mesh bag as it was overcrowded, it's just let a lot more water move through, and you can see that it's gotten a lot more of the grease and lanolin out. So So I'm just gently gathering the wool to the side, and you can see it's looking so much cleaner, but it is still quite a milky looking bath. So I'm just going to give it one more scour. Just holding it to the side so I don't accidentally gunk up my sink. I do have a strainer in there, but still, we want to try and drain as much of this out as possible so we're not just re-adding it back into the fleece. So it's getting really white now. There's still a little bit of yellow, which tells me there's still maybe a little bit of lanolin and grease left in there, but it is such a subtle amount. I think a lot of people would probably be happy with where that is, but we'll do one more because why not? Our last scour. So adding a little more again. Making sure I haven't accidentally locked that bit of wool into the sides of my plug. Just gently spreading this open again. So we really want that water to be able to move around and through, allow the fibres to open up so that we can release as much dirt and lanolin as possible. Your vegetable matter is not going to come out in the scouring process. That is something that you'll want to hand pick out as much as possible at each stage. So before you do your first scour, pick some out. After it has been scoured and dried, do another pass through. Whatever you do, don't use your drum carder to remove vegetable matter because that is not what they are designed for. And you could end up damaging your tines if you're not careful. Like a little bit is fine, but it will embed it further and just make it even harder to pick out at later stages if you're using it that way. Flicker can be really good for removing things. If you've got some wool combs and you're happy to comb your wool, that's a really good way to get your vegetable matter out. Once it's dry though, you can just give it a really good shake. Get out as much as you can. Okay, so we've been about another 10 minutes of this having a soak here, and that's looking quite clean now. It's a little bit milky, but the milky colour is normally your lanolin. So if you've got like heaps of the yellow and brown colour, that's not so good. You want to get rid of that as much as possible. So I'm going to drain this one off, and then that's just ready for a nice gentle rinse. I'm just gathering all the wool up to the side like I did before because I'm trying to avoid it going down the sink and getting agitated too much. And again, I'm just doing a plain water rinse on this to remove the scour because it should not need fibre rinse because it's super gentle. We still have some lanolin in there and we can see just how white that fleece is coming up. These sections and all of these little bits when it dries, we should still be able to see all the lock structure and pick out the little locks for easy carding. Fill that up again and we'll let it soak for another 10 minutes and then we'll get it out and drying on a towel outside. All right, so what you want to do now is gently lift it out and just let it drain naturally as much as possible. You can give it some gentle squeezes to get the bulk of the moisture out. And then we're just going to pop it on the towel that we've prepped there. As well, in case it accidentally gets dropped. But we can see that that water's quite clean after that rinse. And we'll do, when we put it into the towel, we're going to roll it, so that'll be getting a lot more of the moisture out, but we might go outside to do that part. Kind of like open it back up a little bit when you lay it on the towel. You can like just you're basically doing like a sausage roll kind of thing, just rolling it up in the towel. And then we can like gently press on the towel to get some more of the excess moisture out. If you've got a salad spinner at home, you can also use a salad spinner to help get moisture out without the fleece being agitated. The main thing is just to avoid that agitation as much as possible. Again, if you've got the top loader washing machine, you could also use a spin cycle on that. And we're just going to keep it in its roll while we move it outside to dry. Okay, so we've moved our wool outside. So what we want to do now is just unroll it. So if you're going to do that, Olivia. And we're just going to let it dry out here. So we're going to spread it out a little bit. We're going to try not to overhandle it. Okay, you could like tease it. Olivia had a bad experience the other day felting a fleece by accident, so that's why she's here seeing it done in person. So next time she's doing one of her fleeces, hopefully it goes a lot more smoothly. Just spread it out. The more it's spread out, obviously the faster it's going to dry, but I'm just trying not to lose any of like the lock structures you would have seen before we popped it in and had all those lovely crimpy curls and little locks. And so normally we'd also leave this to dry in the shade, but just for the sake of speed today, we've got it out in the open. You can also get like a mesh panel. If you've got some trestle legs or something, you can mount it on and spread it on that. That way you get the airflow through underneath as well. And just because there's a little bit of a breeze, we may have to pop like a fine towel or something on top just to help weight it down, but we'll just see how we go. All right, so now it's just time and patience. So after this is done, we can go through, give it a really good shake, make sure we get any bits of vegetable matter out that we can, and then we can card it or comb it. It's been 24 hours since we scoured the wool and it's almost dry. I'll have to give it a little bit longer to completely get it to a point where I'm happy to put it through a carder or the combs without risking felting or damaging the wool. I just thought I'd show you a before and after though. So this is our fleece that we started with, and you can see just how greasy and yellow stain that is. So look at that one, and then you can see our finished scoured fleece here. So it's beautiful and white, all that staining has disappeared. All that remains now is the vegetable matter that wasn't taken out before we scoured it. So that should mostly fall out during the carding process with my flick carder, or if I decide to use combs, that would definitely get a lot of that out. One thing to note is you probably want to make sure that you get more of this out with hand processing before you put it on a drum carder, because the drum carder may embed these little bits of grass further. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, as always, get in touch. But yeah, I've been using this particular product for, it must be close to 8 or 9 years now. I'm really excited that we now have it at Thread Collective, so you guys can enjoy it too. Thanks for watching.